Welcome back to another video, guys. We're going to be doing something a little bit different today. Obviously, in the past, me and my roommate, we've done like talking about Transformers. We talked about the future of crossovers, which honestly, the only one that we didn't mention was the one that's next, which is the Fast and Furious one, which is cool. I'm down with that. I'm also not as down with that as like a Batman crossover. But anyways, that's not the point of the video. In this video, we're actually going to be doing our first on my channel Transformer review. And it's not going to be just one Transformer. We're actually going to be reviewing the entirety of the Hearts of Steel 4-pack. Obviously, if you guys didn't know, this comes with Megatron and Bumblebee in one pack, and then Optimus and Starscream in another. I did not get these. I did not want to spend the money on them, but my roommate here volunteered as tribute. Norman Osborn, he's got a lot of money, right? So all this money can be put towards Transformers, right? Because he's helping New York City, right? He's developing this gas that you're planning to put off that rids everyone of cancer, right? And
Exactly.
gets rid of anything that's bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's perfect. And it's a green gas. I've seen it. He doesn't let me get too close to it, though. And I have a weird feeling about it. Anyways. Getting into it, I actually thought these were so sick whenever he got them that I'm like, okay, like, I know they're not mine, but we got to make a video about it. So I guess my first question is, I'm gonna preface with this. If you've watched any other Transformer reviews, like Prime v Prime or any of these guys, like, they're great. That is what, at the end of the day, I would aspire to be in terms of doing a review. But for this, it's more or less gonna kind of be like a commentary, like our thoughts. Obviously, I'm going to be putting a ton of pictures up on the screen for you guys to see of these figures once we get into it. But I just wanted to preface with that. It's not going to be like okay, we're doing this here, we're transforming it here, we're doing this here. We're just kind of going to be talking about it. But we're going to cover all of the same elements that would normally be covered, I would assume. But I guess the first question is, like, what made you want to get these, and what drew you to them?
Well, it's one of those things where I had ended up seeing them online for a little bit, and I was hesitant to get them at first because I was like these are higher priced than normal. But really, I wasn't super into any of them, other than initially the Starscream that was like this steampunk biplane type thing, and I thought that one in particular was really really cool. And so finally I made a little bit of extra money, and I was like, okay, like this is what I'm gonna spend it on, and I got it. And it was one of those things where I was really surprised that I would prefer the Optimus to it. And I liked both of them a whole heck of a lot, but I was just like pleasantly surprised by the Optimus. And at that point, since I was so happy with both of those, I was like, well, now I need the other two.
Exactly.
Because, it was one of those things where I didn't expect to be so happy with it. I was just getting it for the novelty of one guy, and then I was, like I said, pleasantly surprised. So I ended up getting the next two, and like I said, like initially I got it for Starscream. For this next pack, I was assuming that I was going to get it for the Megatron. And then in the same way, was blown away by the Bumblebee. And I don't know what it is about.
It's so cool.
It's not even the fact that they're trains, but the level of the detail and the rivets on them and stuff like that. I was really, really happy with them. And I think, honestly, it would be hard to say that these aren't in, like, all four of them are in at least the top 10 of figures that I have, because they're
really cool.
Really cool. And it made me really excited for the next timeline stuff that they're doing, which is the feudal Japan stuff.
Yeah.
The only issue is that I really only like the Optimus, because the whole oxen cart thing is really sick, and I think it's
so
done well.
cool.
And I wouldn't be surprised if I ever do get the Optimus and Starscream Japan one, I might be really happy with it, and then it's the same story as the first one where I have to get the other two. But
I don't know. Well, and honestly, like, for the next series of timelines, the feudal Japan one, the Bumblebee and the Megatron, in my opinion, are pretty weak. Like
Hmm.
all of these that we're going to be showing off today, and I'm going to already have put up pictures on the screen, right? But the Bumblebee and the Megatron that are coming out for the feudal Japan do not hit the same way. Absolutely not. I mean, these are absolutely sick. I'm already going to have again pictures up on the screen, but we're going to get into it. These are sick, and the ones that are coming out with, again, the Optimus one looks like they put a lot of love and care into it, and then the rest, it's like. I guess an argument could be made for Megatron. He is somewhat cool. Like I think he's cool that he's in Oni,
Hmm.
right? But other than that, it's like Bumblebee being a flying squirrel, but he looks like a napkin, right? He looks
Yeah.
like you yell a napkin. He looks like a napkin after you leave it in your dog's kennel, right? So you wonder what the designers are on about. But anyways, we're gonna actually get into the figures now. This is something I don't know if I've ever admitted on the channel, but while I'm making a video, the condensation in my glasses allows me to see absolutely nothing, which is not helpful at all. So I'm gonna have you grab. What should we start with?
We'll start with Starscream and Optimus since that's the
Awesome.
first.
Oh, that'd be sick. Okay. All right. So we're gonna start off with Starscream, right? And this is initially the one that got him into it. So again, there's gonna be pictures up on the screen. I'm gonna hold it up to the camera real quick so you guys can get pretty cool. The lighting looks really bad, so you're not able to see it really well. But again, there's gonna be pictures. This guy is sick. I mean, I don't really know what it's supposed to be. It looks kind of like a steampunk jet, but also more like a train. It has like a train.
Yeah.
I don't even know
It's
what it's
got
called.
like in the plane mode, it's got like a cattle guard still and things like that.
Yeah, actually, you can see the cattle guard on the back.
Well,
Um,
and the draping plate on the front also is like that's the front of it, and it'll like go
I,
up, and so it's clearly meant to resemble trains, but also be some sort of flying whatever. And I like
right.
in my head like the
Here, I'll
head.
let you hold it because you can see a lot better than
Yeah,
me where that's going.
no, you're good. I just like the head canon of him. Really, like there wouldn't necessarily be a flying machine anywhere like this at the time that this was given. So I like the thinking about how he scanned the train and then just did whatever he wanted to with it,
Yeah.
which is very Decepticon of him in general.
Well, I guess if you're using your imagination, would that be your headcanon for it? Is that he
Hmm.
came to Earth, there was no flying things, and so he scanned a train like everyone else, but he was like, screw being a train, and then
Yeah,
sprouted wings out of it and became some flying creature beast thing. It's so sick.
absolutely.
And obviously the time period for this, I would estimate, is like in the 1800s. So,
Yeah, I will. It's also going to be interesting. We'll have to see or figure out when the Megatron's kind of artillery was used, and I think that would probably date it more
right.
than
And I
like the trains.
actually did want to do Megatron next and do the two Decepticons. So,
Perfect.
if you want to hold Megatron and put him up to the camera, because I know you can probably see it a lot better than me at different angles. So, this Megatron, I'm not gonna lie, guys, this one is easily my favorite. It turns into a basically like Civil War era artillery cannon. It's got these like huge like teeth all along the wheels up here. It looks so sick. Actually, I this is gonna be a surprise for a lot of you, but this figure rolls better than 99.9% of figures I have ever messed with. And I'm not sitting there playing with these like toys. I definitely am. Listen, guys, I need you to understand that I have tried to roll basically every Transformer that exists. I started collecting these things because I was into Hot Wheels, I was into cars, I like vehicles, and not half of them can roll. And you're telling me that this artillery cannon, and I don't even know, I might have gotten a picture of the underside to show, but there are wheels on the legs that are kind of hidden, so it's not like dragging on the back half, but it rolls so well. I know I've been focusing on that forever. But it is an amazing figure. I mean, robot mode is amazing too. Obviously, they're I don't know. I do feel like the cannon mode is a little bit cooler, but that could just be me.
Yeah, I
The
would
ro-
say so.
what are your thoughts on? I haven't even let you talk about.
Well, and so the thing about like the rolling thing, and so this will kind of go across all four of them, is that a lot of like the Transformers that are coming out nowadays, like a lot of the studio series and different ones, aren't great toys. Like they're flimsy in some areas, easily breakable, this, that, or whatever. And on top of all four of these looking really, really cool in both modes, they're not particularly fragile, more so than would be normal And so for that, like they are good toys as well.
Yeah, I would argue that the Optimus one does have 1 point, but all the rest of them,
Yeah, and but it's
um,
like as long as you put your thumb in the right place to not bend the plastic, it's fine. But there's some that like you try your best and it's still like I'm gonna snap this in half. And I don't feel like it has that level of fragility to it, which is nice,
yeah, I know what you
honestly.
mean. I get it. It's a good figure. The Megatron one, like I said, probably my favorite out of all of them. The robot mode is good. He looks a little lanky, and then obviously very very big at the shoulders. The little or not the little, but the huge wheels don't transform at all. I will say though, if you guys are wondering, you're like, oh, I don't like the way they're positioned and this and that. You can move them around. Like you can yeah, that'd be perfect if you could show what I mean by that.
So, like I said, they can go up all the way, and obviously you wouldn't do it like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
But you can just kind of do it in whatever way to get
But yeah,
whatever
just to
pose. They're not
show that
limiting.
like you don't have to have them a specific way.
Right.
It's kind of movable. But I guess that would kind of be it for Megatron. Again, my favorite one. But we're gonna get into the Autobots now.
Well,
So
I will say one last thing about the Megatron. You were talking about it being lanky, and it's one of those things is he looks very similar to in terms of body, obviously disregarding the giant wheels. He looks very similar to the G1 design where he
yeah,
had those long legs. And so even like the shape of the shins and stuff like that, it looks a lot like the G1, which I think is a lot of what
dude,
makes the
isn't that
robot
cool?
really
I would
cool.
argue that G1 is one of the best Megatron. I mean, I don't know. That's not an unpopular opinion, right? But
Yeah.
I don't know the fact that they got him to look like the G1 version, but he's obviously a darker color, which we did see some iterations of G2 Megatron, which ended up being a tank, and he was black and brown and red in the same color. I actually
hmm
have like a core glass figure like that somewhere. I didn't bother to get it, but anyways, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to Optimus. Let's go ahead and do Optimus next. Optimus is sick.
So this was the one that convinced me to get Bumblebee and
Here,
Megatron.
you just take this away. I don't have much to say about these. Are your figures, man.
Well, it was one of those things where I kind of viewed like so the one downside to the Optimus is that the train mode does kind of look like Thomas the Train.
Oh, it absolutely does. The picture's gonna be right here. You're gonna be looking at it.
um,
You're gonna be like, yeah, it's Thomas the Train.
but I don't you'll probably be able to see it in the photos more than me holding it up here, but there's all kinds of rivets on it and it's very tactile, which satisfies the little autist part in my brain, frankly.
Yeah, especially the robot mode.
Yeah.
I don't know about the tank mode, but the robot mode has a lot of like gears, and I took pictures of that, and they're not colored,
Mm.
right? So obviously, if you are into customizing your figures, these are going to be great for you to buy because every single one of these figures has a lot for you to do.
Yeah, and just the colors on it in general, the blue pop's really good. The red and gold on the chest looks fantastic. I like how the cattle guard of the train
Here.
splits into being a skirt, which I think is just a nice touch. It's
Yeah.
not too complicated, but it's still like fun to do, which, like I said, for a transformer to be legitimately enjoyable, it has to be fun to transform. And now I like the ones that are many, many, many steps, but at some point, like
Here.
you do kind of have to just set them up and don't mess with them too much because the more steps, the more fragile it is going to be.
That is true.
I like the fact that the smokestack turns into the gun. You'd pop it off, flip it around, and put it on the top, which is a nice touch to doing so. And like I said, this is the one that really was like, okay, this is way better than I expected, which makes me think that the other two are going to be better than I expected. And they were, absolutely.
um, that is true. I honestly, whenever you said you were just getting the other one, I was like, ah. But no, they ended up being really cool. One other thing about the Optimus is the top part of the train, the blue part, it does come off. You can very clearly see that in the picture, and it does form a shield. I'm not the biggest fan of the shield, although it doesn't look horrible. It actually, in some instances, can look pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the gun, the smokestack, literally transforming itself and turning into a gun, that is wicked. Or you could also not transform it and it just look like a big old blunderbuss shotgun. Either way.
Exactly.
So there's multiple levels of fun to it. Look at us. We're graduated college, sitting here talking about fun with Transformers. How awesome is that? It literally couldn't get better. But moving on from Optimus, and Optimus is great, by the way. Actually, if I had to choose Another one other than Megatron, it would be Optimus for sure. And the only thing that brings him down is that, again, the tank, or not the tank mode, but the train mode. I don't know. If you were really into trains and you're getting this for the train mode, I would probably kind of expect to want to get the DNA upgrade kit to make it better. And we've seen it; it looks fantastic. So
Hmm.
obviously, but
No, it
then
doesn't look like a real train, but at the same
yeah,
time, it's like, okay, that's fine. You know what I
yeah, yeah,
mean?
yeah. But obviously for us, it's like we don't have really a single DNA upgrade kit. It's not that deep for us. You know, the figures are figures. If we didn't like the way they were, we wouldn't buy them.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as that. And I have nothing against anyone who buys the upgrade kits. I think for a lot of them they're really cool. Like I have Studio Series Devastator, but the Michael Bayverse one. And I would love to have the DNA upgrade kit for
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But it sells for like I almost said the F word, guys. That's horrible. It sells for like $150, and I'm just not doing that. Okay. I'm not even gonna get into that. Actually, we're gonna get into Bumblebee now. We're gonna get into Bumblebee. This is the last one. This is the fourth one. Right, so obviously, like I mentioned, the packs come in Starscream and Optimus, and then Megatron and Bumblebee. We're doing them out of order because it doesn't matter. Okay, but Bumblebee, I keep saying I like this one the best, but Bumblebee's really good. I actually, whenever he got Bumblebee, I was like, okay, that actually might be the best vehicle mode out of all of them. And it's hard to argue that he's not number one. You guys are listening, you're like, oh, Spider-Man, you've said that every single one is the best so far. That's absolutely right, guys. If you were to go and walk throughout my house with me and I were to talk to you about the Transformers, I would say that's my favorite one. And then like 3 seconds later, you'd be hearing that's my favorite one. They're all my favorite, right? But the Bumblebee in itself, the train mode is so much more detailed than the Optimus, and there's so many more colors, and it's a very rich yellow gold color that honestly, that maybe it may have been used in other Bumblebee molds in the past, but the gold color is very unique, I would say. What do you think?
Yeah, and so which is strange because how much I did ended up liking the Bumblebee is the Bumblebee was the reason that I initially didn't get the 2-pack with him and Megatron. Because I thought the proportions looked weird and this, that, or whatever. And I honestly feel like that's a bigger statement on the lack of skill that the Hasbro stock images have.
For
Because,
sure.
oh my lord, none of them ever do the figures justice.
By the way, I did take pictures where they're in a dynamic pose. I only took one each. And I hope they do them justice. I hope you guys watch this and you're like, oh, that's actually good, and not like, because you're right. Actually, one of the ones that it came really, really bad onto was the X-Men
Oh
crossover.
my god.
They
Yeah.
butchered that. They had him positioned in the weirdest freaking way I've ever seen any figure be positioned, and I guarantee you that is what got that figure to like be almost not even notable. No one even recognized it because they saw the promo images. But we have that one, and it is one of the coolest Transformers that we own,
Oh,
without question.
easily.
Without question. Again, this video isn't about that one, but the promo images are a problem. So all of the pictures that I took, I hope that they're decent. I just really tried to get like a basic image of, I would say, each side of them, the underside, and not to mention Bumblebee has obviously they all have weapon storage, right? So with Megatron, that weapon storage is simply the cannon on his arm goes on top of him, and then for
Mhm.
Starscream, he has some miniguns on his arms, and they actually, whenever he transforms, they're kind of integrated into it, so it's
Yeah,
kind of cool.
which is nice.
It is nice. I would agree. I wish that they would do that more often.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Bumblebee. Bumblebee's easily the coolest. I'm gonna give it a little bit more time for Bumblebee so I can have it on screen. But Bumblebee from the bottom, you can fit in the gun and the hammer perfectly, and it is so cool. You're gonna see it up on screen right here. And then of course moving into the Optimus. The Optimus has the smokestack and then the top of the train itself, and then that forms the shield and the gun, which very cool. All of these figures, I want to note, do have ankle rotation. They are able to swivel, right? The head sculpts can look left to right. Some of them can look up and down. I think Starscreams is only able to look left to right,
Yeah.
while what?
Yeah, correct.
But I do believe that Optimus and Megatron are able to look up. Actually, do an extended bit because whenever I position them, I love positioning my figures kind of like they're looking up at me, right? So I noticed that specifically with them. I don't believe that Bumblebee has the ability to do that though.
Very slightly.
I gotcha. Another cool thing to note is the head sculpts. I'm kind of gonna put them all up here really quickly, but the head sculpts are really unique. Obviously, these are head sculpts that we've never seen for any of these figures before. And I would be willing to argue. So this is like a comic line, right?
I believe so. Obviously, I haven't read it, but from what I've heard, I don't think it's a fan made or anything like that. But I do
Honestly, it
think
might be.
that it's like the equivalent of like an Elseworld story, where it's not necessarily canon to any of
I
the
gotcha.
regular timelines. It's just a fun like drop them in this timeline and or time period and kind of do what you will with it.
Yeah, yeah, I gotcha. But other than that, I mean, obviously, you're getting the same articulation that you would get from any other figure. You can kick the legs all the way up, you can pull them all the way back, you can make them do the splits, you can, position them however. So don't if you're kind of maybe on the fence about these because you don't think that you can articulate them, these I would argue are some of the most fun to articulate and get into positions out of any of the figures that I have ever messed with, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing that I don't think any of them have is the wrist rotation, and a lot of them are likely do like with the Bumblebee, they like flip backwards and stuff like that. So it's one of those things
Yeah, they don't
as
have wrist rotation, but how many
that's
figures
not a
nowadays
huge
have
deal.
wrist rotation?
Not as many as they should,
I would
honestly,
agree.
which
How
is
hard is it to do wrist rotation, guys? I actually don't know. That's why I'm asking. But anyways, yeah, no, these guys are sick. Definitely one of the coolest ideas. Right, and me and him, we've been collecting for years now, and so we've sat around before all of this stuff existed, the timeline stuff, and we were like, oh, well, I want them to do this, I want them to do that, and it actually does seem like, I don't know if we manifested it, if you put your Norman Osborn frequencies into the air to get people to do exactly what you want them to, right? But it's just crazy that we've mentioned I want Transformers back in time, and then we get this, right? And it's exactly what we want. Not only did exactly what we want, but the figures are awesome.
hmm.
Right, and then again, like you mentioned earlier in the video, for you guys that don't know, we are getting a feudal Japan one, and it is sick. I mean, we didn't mention it earlier, but it begs the question of like where they gonna continue to go after this. Obviously, I have no idea, but the implications are endless. I mean, one of the things that we talked about, and I don't want to spend too much time on this because I know this is the review for the Hearts of Steel Transformers, but one of the ones that I'd really want to see next is a Renaissance era. And I don't know what any of the other ones would be, but I want Starscream to be the Da Vinci flying machine. That would be so freaking cool if they could do that in a way that, actually resembled the flying machine. And so what it would do is basically not only double as like a transformer, but it's also like a model of the flying machine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but that just sounds so cool. And again, I don't know what like we talked about. They could be animals. Like Bumblebee could be like a gladiatorial lion.
Yeah, for the Roman ones, we talked about was it I think it was Megatron that we talked about being like not a frigate. I don't know what the name for like the Roman seafaring warships would be, but he could be one of those. Optimus could be the like a horse and chariot similar to the oxen cart.
Which would be awesome.
Bumblebee could be a lion and stuff like that,
And
which fits
honestly,
really, really
lion fits
well.
Bumblebee's personality really well.
Yeah,
I
I
would
would agree.
argue. And then obviously carrying the oxen cart or the truck and trailer trend. Obviously, the horse and the chariot. I mean, who wouldn't want an Optimus that is a Roman era horse and chariot? Dude, how sick does that sound? I have a question though.
Yeah.
Would you want the horse to be blue or the horse to be red, if that makes sense? Like basically kind of how the oxen cart or one is one color and the other is one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which one would look better, a blue horse or a red horse.
Is the ox is mostly red, right? Is it all red
Yeah, it's
or is
pretty
it?
much all red. I'm pretty sure. I don't remember. I'll probably have a picture up here on here if I can find one that's not copyright striked.
Well, I want to say that the red horse would be a little bit cooler, but
I
I
would
think it
agree.
would also be interesting to see if they could get some sort of combination of both of those colors, like different parts of the horse are like the legs are red and then the body and head is blue, or vice versa. But it would just depend on how they would end up actually transforming it.
Dude, imagine if like the horse had a mane and then the mane fit onto the Optimus somehow and formed almost like a cloak like on the back of his neck.
Or in a similar vein, it could be like something attached to the back of the helmet to make it seem like those Roman helmets with the
Oh
fur on
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. So
That
the
would be
horse,
really cool.
the mane of the horse would detach and then fit over the helmet.
Yeah.
Dude, that is okay. So that's a fire idea. I can't even lie to you guys. Also, if we get this right and that ever happens from here to 100 years in the future, you owe all of us $200. Not lying. Because we manifested it. See, we're bringing it into reality. But that would be so sick. And then Megatron being I don't even know. But anyways, like there's so many implications to where you can go with all of this, and honestly, I've been I've been really wanting to get into more Transformer reviews, so that's definitely going to be going on more in the future. We have so many figures that we can review. And I honestly, hope as I keep doing this, the reviews get better because I understand that this one isn't really what people are used to, but it's also the way that I want to do it and just kind of put my thoughts out there. So if you guys enjoy it, I would really appreciate it if you let me know, if you leave a comment and you're like, Spider-Man, I love this Transformer review. Or you're like, Spider-Man, like, Prime v Prime is just goated and like you can't ever compare. And I'm not trying to, just so you guys know. Never try
Well,
to do
the purpose of this channel in general and this video specifically is a lot of it is to just kind of sit here and yap about things that we enjoy.
Exactly.
And that's what it is. And so we just like talking about what we like to talk about. We might as well film it and see if other people agree or just kind of
Exactly.
widen our horizons in that way. So it's one of those things.
It is. This is not a Transformer review page. If you go watch any of my other videos, you're not going to find a lot of Transformers. We do have some. And before I end the video, the Transformers Overgear stuff, if you guys are into that, we have a video about that too, discussing that. I'm really, really excited for Overgear. That's probably my most anticipated Transformer. I couldn't really call it a collaboration, but I
Yeah,
guess
not really.
I guess just most anticipated figures coming out in my life. I'm not even gonna lie. In my life, I want these figures more than anything. They are so cool. But yeah, if you're interested in that, go watch that video. But in the future, there's probably going to be a lot more. I might even try to make some shorts, where I am very quickly going over it. Who knows? I don't know if I'll ever be that guy who's like transforming it, on screen because I can't transform them for crap. I have to like ask him. I'm like, dude, I can't do this. You need to do it for me. And then he does it in like a millisecond, and
It's the tism.
yeah, I guess, I thought that maybe I got it too, but just not. There's levels to this stuff. It's the spectrum for sure. I genuinely hope that you guys have a good one. I challenge all of you guys to be the best person that you can be. I know that my friend Norman Osborn over here recently told me that, he's one of the best people ever. Right. And actually, he's doing so much to help people. He has an underground research facility that he won't let me into. And, he's told me that there's a lot of people in there. It's just really interesting. He mentioned something about a big green lizard. And then scorpions. I don't know. It's just strange stuff. But anyways, guys, I hope that you guys have a good one, and I'll see you soon.